Welcome back, Caddy Corner, episode 78. I'm Austin.
And I'm Caleb.
And we're back again. Boom. Done. Just kidding. Today we are talking about, I have it on my notes as content recommendations, but it's also just like stuff that we have been watching / consume, generally speaking, that we recommend to you guys. We do a show similar to this periodically. I think it's important. I think it's really important to consider like how what you watch affects you as a human. So that's kind of what this episode is. So if you're looking for like a new movie to watch, we have some options in this episode and stuff like that. So if you're interested, stick around. If not, still stick around. So rate and review the show, like and subscribe. Check everything out. Links in the descriptions. Caleb, take it away.
All right. Sounds good. Yeah. I mean, you're taking in content all the time. So it would be silly of yourself to not reflect on what you are consuming. And so that's kind of what we're doing today for ourselves, but also for the sake of you viewers out there at home or in your car.
Or wherever. Anywhere.
Wherever you watch. So starting it off for me, I have my notes broken up into 3 sections, and that is entertainment, education, and comfort. And so I'm going to start with my entertainment section. And in my entertainment section, I have some more sections, which the first one is YouTube. My entertainment YouTubers that I watch all the time is Bob Does Sports,
Classic,
and Good Golf. I'm like definitely, that's my favorite kind of content to just like enjoy.
Yeah, golf content.
Yeah,
it's so good. It's really well made.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I enjoy it so much. All of my recommended videos on YouTube are golf videos, which, it is what it is, because that means whenever I'm looking for something else, I got to search for it, which, but that's okay. I'll live with that, because Bob Does Sports and Good Golf are incredible.
Super good.
And then next is podcast. For podcast, entertainment-wise, I'm going with Theo Vaughn's This Past Weekend and the Full Send podcast.
What a show.
Yeah. They're incredible. Both of them.
Yeah.
They're so much fun. And then also, just like a little honorable mention, I put TikTok as a whole in my entertainment section.
Which is a good move.
But, like, so my entertainment section is kind of weird, because my entertainment section is more of like a combined section, because I do learn things from all of these.
Of course.
Especially TikTok. I learned a lot of stuff on TikTok. And maybe that's a good thing, maybe that's a bad thing, but that's a conversation for another time. But I learn a lot of stuff on there. And so that is the reason why I have a comfort section, because that is the content that I don't like really benefit from at all.
Yeah, I understand.
So yeah, entertainment. That's mine.
Yeah. Entertainment is what most people use content for most of the time, which is it definitely is. That's the reason that it exists.
Right.
I watch a ton of YouTube. It's pretty much like almost all of what I watch. And it fits mostly into my comfort section because it's just kind of like noise. I always call it like laundry content, like what you like watch, like while you're like folding your laundry, like you're not paying attention to what's happening on the TV,
Yeah.
I would try and think about it that way. But a podcast that I really like that is entertainment based is like Flagrant with Andrew Schultz.
Mm-hmm.
He has a lot of really good guests. I love Joe Rogan, like parts of Joe, like it depends on who is on the show, but like the podcast that Joe Rogan does like with his comedian friends are so good.
Yeah.
And they're so good every time. So that's a really good entertainment one for myself. I really like long form stuff when it comes to entertainment. And so TikTok is something for me where like when I think about entertainment, I think about like remembering something. Like I don't remember the last 10 TikToks that I've watched. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just kind of throwaway content a lot of the time. There obviously is times where that's not the case. But for me, a lot of the time, it is totally the case. Just, constant content, and then it's like you don't, when's the last time a TikTok like really hit you hard? You know, maybe like once a day.
Right.
But think about how many TikToks you see in a day. That's nuts to think about.
Yeah.
But yeah, I watched Flagrant is a good one. Joe Rogan is a really good one for long form content for myself. And then recently I've been watching, when it comes to like YouTube and like entertainment, it's also kind of just like in the background, but I really have been liking these. They are like these camping videos, and they're like 45 minutes long, and it's like they just go, and it doesn't matter who it is. It could be anybody, right? They just go and they like set up their stuff. There's no music. There's no talking. It's just like camping sounds.
Yeah.
It's so sick. It's like beautifully shot too. YouTube's the only place that something like that could exist, I guess. So yeah, I'm really into that, as it sits. But for me, like what I'm watching on YouTube is constantly changing. It changes with whatever I'm interested in like that week, but it also changes based on like the seasons and what I'm working on. Like we're working on the documentary, and so like so much of my like educational content that's being served to me through YouTube is like that. In that genre of, worlds of things, because that's what I'm Googling. That's what I'm looking up on YouTube anyway. So it's super interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%. For my next section is my educational section, or whatever you want to call it, whenever you are taking stuff away from like the content that you're taking in. So like I have like pretty much the same couple sections. YouTube, what I'm watching whenever I want to like learn something is, first off, Peter McKinnon.
The GOAT.
Yeah.
If you want to learn how to use a camera.
Yeah. If you're a filmmaker, then you got to watch his stuff.
Or even like a photographer. Probably more so for a photographer, honestly.
Yeah. But his stuff is super sick. Yeah. You can learn a lot from that guy. The next one is Marty Music, which is like a guitar instructor on YouTube. I watch a ton of his stuff, and I've been watching this stuff for so long. For those of you who don't know, I play guitar, and so pretty much anytime I want to learn a song, I'm typing in his name, because
you trust him.
Yeah. Exactly. It's definitely one of those things where it's like, if there's a song that I want to learn, and I look up like a tutorial on how to play the song, and I see his face,
you're clicking.
I'm clicking that video. And then another guy, his name is Vince Opera. I don't know if you ever heard of him. He does a lot of tutorial videos for the Adobe Suite.
Sure.
And so I'm constantly watching this stuff. This is another one of those same things. I'm an Adobe guy, and so whenever I'm stuck on something editing wise, and I go to YouTube for help, which happens a ton.
Every project.
Whenever I see that guy's face, I see that guy's name, that's the video I'm clicking on, because I trust him, and I feel like the way that he does things fits the way that I do things, because we're kind of making the same kind of stuff. And so that's where it goes for YouTube. Podcast, the most like informative podcast, and it's not even just information about what I do for like school and like what I hope to do for a career, but it's just like stuff you should know about everything. But it's called the Stuff You Should Know podcast. You ever heard of that?
I haven't.
It's so good. They talk about all kinds of stuff. They talk about history. They talk about like why like it rains,
Sure.
like all kinds of stuff that
you should know.
Yeah. And it's so interesting. I love listening to their podcast just because like there's so many random things that you don't think about until you listen to somebody talk about like why it works that way. My favorite one is why boats float, because that's one of the questions that I've had for like my whole life, is how do like cruise ships not sink?
Right.
And they did
they're heavy.
Yeah, they did one like that, and it was crazy. I put the Joe Rogan Experience in my educational podcast section.
Yeah, totally is.
Just because I put myself in a completely different mindset whenever I listen to that show.
I get that totally.
I don't really care about like who he's talking to. I don't really care about like the like what does this person do. Like I am fully just engaged in their conversation, just trying to get information out of it, because I feel like there's so much information to be taken in by that show, it's like unbelievable.
He's so good at talking to people.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It's insane.
Yeah.
And then there's another podcast that I like to listen to. It's called Filmmaker, and the dude who does it, his name is Adam Roberts. He's super good. If you're into that kind of thing, then you should definitely check out his show, just because he talks about pretty much everything filmmakers need to know
about.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. So this, I think, is where our social content tends to thrive for you and I specifically. Yeah. I think most of the content that I consume on YouTube, whenever I'm like paying attention, is in this niche. Oh, yeah. I'm clicking on the video because I'm trying to take something away from it. Whether or not that's because I look at videos and break them down just because of the human that I am, or it's like, this is how you do whatever in Final Cut. You know what I mean? You can take it away from all kinds of angles whenever you're in like our position. So with that being said, a genre of video, of like YouTube videos that I love to watch is like vlogs. I just love that. I always have. It's always been something that I've been super into. And there are these two that are on YouTube that I really like recently. And they're pretty big. They like blew up kind of in the past, like, couple months, just because of how good their videos are. But one of the channels is called Life of Riza. And then the other one is Colt Kerwan, or I think it's Kerwin. He's insane at editing. They're both just make really like simple and like very well shot, very well edited vlogs that are not like Mr. Beastified. Like it's like a simple thumbnail and a good title and just a story. Yeah. Like how it, biasly should be. But I really like to just, watch videos like that anyways. Those are videos that I'm interested in. And now that they are like getting made and like getting views, that's good for kind of everything, in my opinion. And then I also watch a lot of, I go to YouTube a lot with different questions. Recently, I've been watching a lot of product-based things, just because I don't really know why. Maybe it was like the Apple event that put me into like a Shopify mode, like just go after and look at things. Yeah. But I've been watching a lot of like product reviews and things like that all the time.
Dude, I'm the same exact way. Anytime I see something that I would even consider purchasing, I'm like watching a video about it.
Dude, I'm watching like 6.
Yeah, it's like so weird because it's like I'm not buying this.
Right. Or maybe you will though. Maybe you will. Maybe. But yeah, I've been watching a ton of videos like that recently, just like stupid product reviews of things that I don't even care really about. Yeah. Or I have like no use for, but it would be like really cool to have, you know what I mean? And then another genre of videos that I've been watching a ton of is like EDC videos. I love like that so much. Like what belongs in your backpack, what belongs in your pockets, what different people carry. I think what got me into that was watching like, it was like a documentary filmmaker's EDC, and he had like this cool bag with all of his cool stuff, and I was like, freaking out. And so then it started the rabbit hole. So that's kind of where I am with things right now, as far as YouTube. And then when it comes to podcasts for education, I have been not on a podcast kick at all recently. It's been like an ultimate podcasting dry spell, which, happens for me. I think we've talked about that on the show before. It's kind of hills and valleys for myself. But one of the shows that I always stick with, that I love when it comes to a like informative, especially in our, interest of study, which is like content creation as well as like social media. I love the Colin and Samir show. They interview other like content creators, like specifically YouTube, but also with podcasts. And they have these like really in-depth conversations, about like the business side and also like the production side and like what does your team look like and blah, 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 blah. Yeah. Conversations that content creators generally don't, like they wouldn't have on their own platform, Yeah. Like, do you know Destroying, the football guy? He will do the like football tricks.
Oh, yeah.
So like he goes on Colin and Samir, and you don't know anything about Destroying's editing team or his business structure behind his, YouTube empire. Yeah. But that's interesting innately because you don't know, So anyway, that is kind of the podcast that I always stick to when it comes to like, educational based things. Also, this podcast, Caddy Corner podcast.
Facts.
Tune in.
Boom. Facts. I was like having a hard time making this list, and I think that's kind of the reason why I just like I didn't really think about what I was writing in what section, because like all of these for me intertwine
100%.
Because even whenever I'm watching like any kind of content as a content creator,
Our perspective is just different.
It's so different because I'm thinking about like what does your team look like, and like what were you doing with the camera right then, and like
Or how.
Yeah, exactly, and all these things, and those are things that I want to be able to take away, because if I see something that I like or that I think looks cool in like a YouTube video, then
Figure out how to copy it.
obviously I'm going to try it, and so that's just another one of those things. But it happens all the time. All the time whenever I'm watching anything, I'm always just thinking about like what were they doing there, and like how can I do that too, and yeah, I think it's like the mindset. But another thing that I forgot to leave out is another place where I go for a lot of educational purposes is Pinterest.
I love Pinterest.
I've really started using it.
Dude, it's so good.
It's so much fun.
It for me, it has just figured out like my aesthetics so perfectly well.
Yeah.
It knows exactly how I like things to look. It's insane.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Yeah, Pinterest is crazy. My girlfriend, she uses Pinterest all the time, and I was always like, come on,
Sure.
Like how cool could it actually be?
Oh, man.
But like, dude, I mean, I go on there, and like if I'm gonna like go and take some pictures, then I'll be like nature, like photography, and then like get inspiration for that, or like be like portrait photography and get like inspiration from that. And I do that a lot whenever I'm like feeling like I want to go take some pictures or whatever. I'll just go to Pinterest and look up like a lot of photos.
And sometimes too, you'll just be scrolling on Pinterest and you're like, dude, I got to go take some photos. That's how I get all the time.
I know I'm the same exact way.
Yeah.
I'm the same exact way because a lot of my Pinterest is photography based. And so, yeah, I mean, I see a lot of cool stuff on there, and I'm like, man, I'm like, give me my camera,
Right.
and like, let me get out there.
Let me go play.
Yeah. But yeah, Pinterest is so cool. But it's another one of the things, because it's like whenever I'm on Pinterest, I'm not thinking about it like I'm on TikTok.
Totally not.
I'm thinking about it differently. It's a completely different place, but it's also like super sick.
Yeah. It's mega. And I also think another one too that I think is really good for education too is Reddit.
Yeah,
Reddit's so
crazy.
good for that. Any question that you ever have is like you can go to Reddit and you can see conversations about that.
Yeah.
And you can just join subreddits that you are interested in and different things like that. And then the communities within those Reddits do like all kinds of different things. Like the podcast that I was mentioning, the Colin and Samir show, they have a subreddit and they talk about the kind of the ins and outs of how YouTube works and stuff like that. But then they have this one thing which is called Fix It Up Friday, where you like submit your video that you made that week and then you critique it. Everybody critiques everybody's videos. There's like 1,000 people in this subreddit or more or whatever. And then you have people submitting, and you get like, you have so much feedback that way.
Yeah.
Which is so good for like video creators, You can't even get like real feedback like in real life most of the time. You know, you can't get 1,000 replies on your video in real life. Are you crazy? So Reddit is another really good tool for education as well. As long as you're not looking at like whatever is going on Reddit. I don't know really what happens on Reddit. That's not educational because that's kind of what I use it for. But anyway, so yeah, Reddit. Yeah,
Reddit's a crazy place. My next little section here is my comfort section, and that's where like television usually lives for me.
Sure,
but not all television.
I get it. Yeah, get it.
So I have 3 television shows that are my comfort shows, and I'm gonna lay them on y'all like real fast. Number 3 is Pawn Stars. I love Pawn Stars.
Yeah,
Pawn Stars is such a fun show.
You never know who's gonna come through that door.
Yeah, you never know. And I feel like a dad every time I like have it on my TV, but I just can't even help it because it's so interesting to me. I love seeing what people have and like how much it sells for. I don't know why.
I get it.
I guess it's just because like I don't really have cool stuff like that.
You don't think you do.
Right.
You never know.
Because I've never taken it to a pawn shop.
No.
But yeah, I mean, it's such a fun show, and yeah, I love it. The second one on my list is Friends, which is another one of just like those shows that I put on just
noise.
Yeah, exactly. It's just noise. Like if I'm chilling and I want to like scroll on my phone, but it be on the TV, then I'm like, I'm cool with that because I've seen it so many times. Like I already understand what's going on,
Yeah.
you know.
Whenever you just glance at it, you know what's happening.
Yeah, and then like if I want to like sit down and watch it and enjoy it, like I can also do that. And then that 70s show is also a show like that for me because I've watched that show all the way through probably 6 times, and so like any point of the show, I could just glance at the TV exactly and know exactly what's going on. And so in that regard, I don't feel obligated to like
pay attention,
sit down and actually like stare at the television and like try and figure out what's going on. But yeah, so that's usually like where TV goes for me, and it's honestly the same for movies too. I'm not a big like sit down and watch a new movie guy.
I get that.
And so most of the movies that I put on are like ones that I've seen before, just because I feel like I don't want to have
pay attention.
Yeah,
I get it. Dude, I'm the same way. I have to be in such the right headspace to watch a movie that I've never seen before.
And I think that like that space for me is the movie theater.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I agree with that totally.
It's so easy for me to pay attention to a movie.
You don't have a choice, brother.
In a movie theater, exactly. The screen's so big, and there's nothing really to get distracted by.
And it's dark, and if you're on your phone, you're going to be that guy.
Right.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, I have a lot of respect for like watching new movies, you know, because I think like watching something new is obviously a good thing, but it's so hard for me.
Like whenever they're like whenever the Netflix originals come out, you have a hard time with that because I have a hard time with that.
Yeah, and it's really not even like the Netflix originals. It's just like if I'm going on Netflix because I'm like bored and I want to watch something or whatever, and I'm scrolling through Netflix, like I'm not looking for something new.
All right, you're looking for that 70s show.
Exactly. Like I'm looking for something that I've seen before that I enjoy to watch, just because.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Because you know it's going to be good.
Exactly.
I get it. Yeah. Totally get it. I am kind of the same way, except for I don't really ever use TV as like comfort shows, just because like if I just want noise, I'll just throw YouTube on because I'm more likely to be interested in, you know, and so that's just whatever. However, The Office is great for that too. That's another really good. That's so many people's like classic just background noise show is The Office. The Office is great.
Yeah.
But I also have a really hard time watching movies. Not in the movie theater. I always kind of have had that problem. But I don't think I was able to diagnose that until I saw Oppenheimer, and I was like, it was really easy for me to watch this 3-hour movie that's like half in black and white. What the heck's going on?
Yeah.
And then, yeah. So anyway, but I have watched some movies recently. One that I think is really good that is a Netflix original is the Jake Paul doc.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah. The people who make those documentaries
beautifully done
are so
beautifully
good.
done. So good. Generally, I am a fan of documentaries anyway, and those are a genre that I can watch just like in the background, but also like at home, and I'm not really pressed.
Yeah.
I'm not really pressed to watch the Jake Paul doc in the movie theaters at all.
No.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I'm the same way.
And so, but also there are movies that are not new movies that are like old movies that I've never seen before. And as somebody who's like interested in, I wouldn't say that I'm interested in film really, but I'm just a guy with the camera. And so these are movies that like defined that. And like, that was for me like Pulp Fiction and like Kill Bill. I watched those recently, like in the past like month. I mean, those are just 2 of Quentin Tarantino's like, or 3, I guess, of his best movies. I mean, insane. And then like 2 nights ago, we watched The Batman. Have you seen that? The one with Robert Pattinson?
Mm-mm.
Oh man, it is stunning.
Yeah.
It's so good. I thought it was really good anyway, but yeah, I mean, movies are awesome.
Yeah,
and
they are.
Every time that I watch a movie that I've never seen before, and it's like, it's good, which is like a pretty good percentage because like these streaming services aren't paying money for IP of bad movies, you know?
Yeah.
I feel like so rewarded after I watch a movie and it's good, you know?
Yeah.
So
yeah, I feel the same way. And I've thought about that in the same way before because it's like really every time you watch a new movie that you've never seen before and it's like a good movie, then you're like, oh, like that was a good movie, and you feel good. But then it's like whenever you're searching for something to watch,
scary.
It's like you're never picking the one that you've never seen before. Mm-hmm. And then it's like if you are, then it's like the preview looked really good, or it's like the screen cover looked like really good, and because like I feel like a lot of the things on Netflix, it's like if you're just like scrolling, then these things don't look appetizing.
No, I agree.
You know, like
that's because we're used to YouTube thumbnails.
Exactly.
Yeah, totally. That's how I am. Like, my relationship with movies is very much director based.
Yeah.
I really only watch movies from directors who I like respect, or I mean, that's like rude, but it's true. Like, people who I think make good movies, I watch their movies.
Right.
Pretty much all the way around. So, but yeah, when it comes to movies though, I think because like I never had the chance to like see Pulp Fiction in the theaters because that was 1990 whatever, and like I was not even birthed. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
at all. So.
Yeah.
So, like, I never had the chance to, like, watch that in the movie theaters or whatever. And so, but I think it's a movie that, like, most people should watch anyways. So, but yeah, movies are awesome.
Yeah.
But I have to be, like how you said, like, in a very specific headspace to, like, watch a movie. I have to be, like, I'm gonna sit down and I'm gonna watch this thing.
Yeah.
Tip to tip, no distractions, you know?
Mhm.
Maybe that's the hard part is distractions are just so ample. They're
Yeah.
everywhere, you know? Maybe. I don't know. Who knows?
Not me.
No. But movies are really good. Have you seen a movie recently that you really liked? You don't really watch movies, like you said, right?
No, I don't watch movies that often. I mean, the last movie that I really liked was Oppenheimer.
Okay. And that came out in the theaters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's pretty much like,
Yeah.
that honestly might be the last like new movie that I've seen.
Yeah. I mean, that's the last new movie that I've seen, too. Barbie. You saw Barbie?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, after.
I did see Barbie after.
Yeah. But it came out on the same day.
Yeah. So that doesn't count.
No, I wouldn't say so either. But who knows? Maybe it does. Maybe it does.
Yeah. I wasn't even thinking about Barbie because Oppenheimer was so good.
Shout out to Barbie, though.
Yeah. Barbie's killing it.
Did you see the trailer for that new DiCaprio?
Yeah.
It's going to be so good, man.
Yeah. No, I'm stoked for that.
I think it'll be so good. I hope it'll be good at least. We can talk about this for like a second. We don't have to go like super far into it or whatever. But something that I think is awesome is those TV series that are like iconic, that are like so good, and like you're watching through one currently, Game of Thrones, for like the first time.
Yeah.
I think that those are things that are like so awesome because there's so much content. Because you know how like you watch a movie once sometimes and you're like, I want there to be more to like this story.
Yeah.
I want like more understanding of the world. Like that's what TV series can do. And whenever there are ones that are so good like that and they're so long and they're so like in depth, there's just nothing like that.
Yeah. Yes, because after you finish watching it, you're not like, I wish I had more.
No.
I mean, yeah. Yeah, I definitely would agree with that.
And it explores the world so well. It gets the chance to. You know, it has time.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, especially the ones that run for a lot of time, you know, because I mean, you think about like Game of Thrones for example. It's like how many seasons? 10 seasons?
I think it's like 6.
Oh, well,
But still,
I was way off.
6 is a lot though.
Yeah. I mean, like think about how many hours that is. You know, 10 episodes a season. That's
60 hours.
exactly, and that's like a lot of
time.
and a lot of time to get to know these characters and stuff. And so like after that, and after, because I feel like one of the issues with TV, and like a great example of this, in my opinion, is like Grey's Anatomy. It's like there's too much.
Yeah.
You know,
Because they're just, you've done it.
exactly.
Yeah.
And so
The interestingness is gone.
like, yeah, like there is a happy medium there, but like you don't watch Grey's Anatomy and watch it all the way through and to be like, I wish I knew more.
Right.
Like I wish I had more Grey's Anatomy episodes to watch.
Because what you're actually thinking after you get past like season 15, you're thinking, there's more?
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah. And then after you finish, you're like, man,
Yeah.
I'm never doing that again.
I think that's the problem with like so many TV series from that generation of human beings.
Yeah.
Like everything that is done on TV, a lot of it is overdone that way. You know, like it runs for a season too long.
Yeah.
And then in Grey's Anatomy's case, like I don't know how many seasons there are, but if they're
20 seasons too long.
sure, like so long, you
Yeah.
know, and so then the interestingness is gone. You know,
Right.
and that's like one of the problems with TV. That's why, you know, there's just different mediums. But I think that's another important thing to consider too whenever you're thinking about the content that you consume is like the relationship that you have with the different kinds of content that you consume. Like the relationship that you have with a TikTok is different than a podcast, and a podcast is different than a movie. And those things are meant to be consumed in different ways. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like you're not supposed to watch a movie while you're driving down the road, but you're supposed to listen to a podcast whenever you're driving down the road.
Yeah.
So there's just different ways that you engage with those pieces of content, which I think is super important
Yeah.
to consider. Boom.
Boom.
78. Yeah.
It is.
Caddy Corner. We do this every week,
Yeah, we do.
every Friday. Audio and video. Knowledge bombs. That's what we do.
Incredible.
Incredible. We also do Caddy Corner After Hours every Wednesday.
That's true.
Laid back, kickback vibes. We will be doing that shortly. And by shortly, I mean right now. So, yeah, we'll see you guys all next week. I'm Austin. He's Caleb. Peace.